Greetings, good day, good afternoon, good evening. No matter where you are in the world of work, I am happy to see you and happy to be in your space. Did you know that recent reports state that nearly 70% of workers say emotional burnout has worsened, especially over the last 2 years? Fortunately, over 75% of organizations and HR leaders are now prioritizing workplace well-being. They're even dedicating budgets, they are embedding well-being into practices, they are offering programs, and even as a bonus, they're committing to maintaining employee well-being through increased resources. And quite frankly, by doing this, it is impacting the organization's bottom line. It has financial implications. It allows revenue growth by 3.2 times, according to a recent report. It fosters cultures of inclusivity and belonging, and it promotes employees' well-being, engagement, retention, and even sometimes succession planning. According to another research report through Forbes, it shows that 44% of millennials and 49% of Gen Zs, and I would even venture to say that other generations say that they want to work for a company that aligns with their personal and core values and ethics. And so it's important for us to understand that employees are demanding support. So how do we start? How do we start to really provide the resources towards shifting our mindset and providing these emotional well-being resources? I say in three ways, three tenets, so to speak. The first tenet is relax, towards creating that mindset shift. So we're going to relax, release, and reset. But first, in order to relax, we have to think about how emotional burnout and toxicity can show up at work. It can show up in the form of absenteeism. It can be disengagement. It can be stress, anxiousness, low productivity, that mental and physical health that comes along with issues of us not being able to take care of ourselves. And so these factors may be challenging to address, especially when we're looking at our workplaces. And so in order to do that, I am suggesting within this first tenet, which is relax, is to shift our mindsets to be able to foster opportunities to just simply relax. So how do you go about doing that? How do you go about putting this into practice? I am suggesting employing emotional mindset shifts using EQ, or emotional intelligence. And emotional intelligence is the ability to recognize and manage your emotions and also the emotions of others. And this happens through self-awareness, and that's essentially knowing your own emotions. It's social awareness, and that's being able to read the room. The other is relationship management, and that is, how are you being empathetic and concerning towards others' experiences? And then self-management, that's simply checking in on that disruptive emotion that may be a part of your day-to-day. And so no matter if you are in a work situation that is hybrid, in person or online, you have to create a workspace that is dedicated to relaxation and this EQ reflection moment. And this is simply put, you are taking time to stop, to just simply breathe. Many organizations, believe it or not, especially those that are international, they actually have spaces dedicated to relaxation or quiet rooms, so to speak. And so, no quiet room in your organization, no problem. I believe that the most obscure places can work. It can be inside a restroom, a kitchen. If you're outside, it could be gardening. It could be on a bike trail. It could be walking. It could be golfing. It could be simply people watching. It could be listening to the laughter from children. And I find myself personally standing in front of the dishwasher, stretching and really relaxing my mind and centering my mind on the sounds of the water as it's rushing through the dishwasher. And so I am offering you the opportunity to relax by centering your thoughts and aligning your values to what's important to you. Essentially, what matters? So name it. It could be mind over matter. It could be creating that space that you can call what you want it to be. In my personal case, as I said, I call it my mind over matter relaxation space. Call it what you choose. But when you are in that space, here's what I want you to do as a part of this first tenet, which is relax. I want you to ask yourself, what brings you joy? What brings you peace? It could be a person, a place, an artifact. You can see behind me, I collect inspirational dolls. It's whatever makes you feel at peace, that gives you joy. And so that's the first tenet. The second tenet of this process is to release. I say sharing is caring, right? And so when we think about this second emotional mindset shift to maintain workplace wellness, the act of releasing is being able to share our emotional triggers in a workplace that is going to allow that to happen. And when we can find that workplace that allows that to happen, that is powerful. It is something that we have to honor because it is essentially not the norm. And so when we are able to reduce the stigmas and the apathy and be able to raise awareness and educate our employees on the importance of emotional well-being, it gives us solace. It gives us a sense of purpose because we feel like in those moments we're in a space to release. And so here's my 2 cents, and this is something I'll offer up to those leaders out there. You should stand in front of well-being as a part of the embodiment of your organization and your institution, and even your leadership traits and styles. I say that that can happen in the form of creating well-being discussions. And so allow employees to create their own safe spaces. Allow those spaces to be accessible and open to discuss emotional well-being. And so then take some time to join into the conversations and share your stories. Listen to their stories and experiences, and then provide resources in order to train employees on the importance of mental health first aid, which is very similar to CPR first aid. This is an opportunity that will allow you to integrate well-being into your workplace and also into daily practices. Keep in mind how you best support your employees is going to speak volume to how the organization moves forward in this space around wellness. There's also populations that are underserved that we especially need to dedicate our time. Those that are neurodiverse, those that are culturally are coming from cultural spaces that may be different from yours, those that may be differently abled. And so especially Black employees, they can experience what's called race-based traumatic stress and RBTS, and it's sometimes called race fatigue or Black fatigue, and it's that mental and emotional injury that's caused by our encounters around biases and discriminatory practices. And so this is something that we also have to be extremely mindful of as we are creating these spaces of release for our employees. And so here's what I want you to do. With the second tenet, which is release, I want you to ask yourself, what daily well-being mindset shifts will I integrate to release workplace stressors? Now, let's move to our third tenet, which is to reset. And this is a commitment. This is so we can put this work into practice, right? So finally, this is our ability to reset, and that allows persistence towards making this work sticky, making sure that we're really, truly engaging in emotional mindset shifts. And so oftentimes employees lean on their organization to provide the North Star or the guiding principles to support them, especially during tough times. Employees want to have a genuine sense of commitment to their well-being, to their well and their whole being. And challenging times, organizations may expect employees to defer to their well-being and for the betterment of the organization, for the better good of the work that needs to be done. Get it done. Sometimes that's the sentiment that we hear. That's more important than you having, again, that sense of wholeness and wellness. There's another report that indicates employees want to have discretion on how their work gets done. And so poor mental health and higher rates of disease, such as heart disease and diabetes, are directly associated with these high work demands and this low job control. And essentially, it turns into what we now know as burnout. I'll add toxicity to that as a part of the outcome. And so employees tend to thrive, though, when they have empathetic and compassionate leaders who understand, who want to understand, even if they don't. They want organizations who enact meaningful and compassionate change in the lives of their well-being. And so to obtain this shift, we have to be clear on our values. We have to stand firm on our values. The Great Resignation is happening in part due to the shift in employees not having opportunities to prioritize what's important to them. And so in order to find out what's important, we have to throw away those old standards of working towards the gold watch. It's not the litmus test anymore. There are more important value statements that kind of come along with us being in the world of work. So resetting our emotions autonomously and being able to make our priorities and boundaries is a clear part of what many employees are looking for from their organizations. Essentially, statements like, I will commit to this, but I will not commit to that. And this allows you to stand firm in your stance. And so when you are in this space, when you are able to reset, I want you to ask yourself, what commitment will I make to reset my mindset so that it is a long-standing shift? Our third tenet, reset. I want you to take a moment to reflect on these three proposed mindset shifts towards maintaining workplace wellness, and that is relax, release, and reset. I encourage you to truly take time to write thoughtful responses to the question prompts that I proposed at the end of each one of those tenets. I just simply say, a peace of mind is priceless. I am Dr. Aries Davis, and I am so elated to be a part of this journey with you. I wish you wellness. I wish you safety. Take care for now. Bye-bye.